Little Hands, Big Attitude, Book 5, The Thief and the Sleeper, Chapter 9, Confusion and Delay. Project Shadow was much more devastating than Agent Stone had initially thought, and not very good at staying hidden, if the massive fireball had been anything to go by. Pedal to the metal, the man had broken free of traffic and rushed in the direction of his quarry's last known location. He would beat out the government pests, the news snoops, everyone, and get what he longed for. If his research into the creature was accurate, Project Shadow almost belonged to him anyways. As the assistant to the grandson of the man who created the creature, he was sort of next of kin. He would keep the creature safe and on their side until the doctor returned, and he would return. That was Agent Stone's plan, up until he was within sight of the large building the signal was coming from, and watched it explode upwards. It was a flash of white light that filled the sky, and Agent Stone slammed on the brakes, coming to a stop just in time for the sound to follow the light in its path. The RV rocked, the windshield cracked in the top right corner, and whole small trees were splintered from their roots.
Yikes.
The man whispered with wide eyes, and then checked his scanners again. The blast had knocked them out of sync. Between the smoke rising up into the skies and raining bits of debris beginning to come back down like a meteor shower, Stone couldn't make out the creature as it potentially left the scene. He couldn't get closer, and by the time the scanners were back online, his quarry would probably be long gone again. The man slammed his fist on the screen, and then it chirped again. Another ping, on the move away from the road. The military lackeys would be busy dealing with the destructive fallout for the moment, which gave him some time. And several hours later, he'd followed the trail across the hills and rivers to an old train yard. The ping, weak as it may be for the moment, was hovering somewhere amongst the rows of iron boxes and wheels. Somewhere in there, was what he'd been following and aiming for. The problem was that these trails of metal could become mobile, and in his search Project Shadow might hop on one and ride away again. He needed to keep them all stationary, he needed a plan. He tapped a button on the RV's dash.
Steamed Austrian goat's milk with mushrooms on the side.
Passcode accepted. Initiating activation protocols.
Time to use that tech the doctor permitted me to use.
It's been longer than 5 minutes, Rouge.
Shh, it's fine. Trains can be a few minutes late.
What if you picked the wrong one?
I didn't. I checked the paper.
What if the paper was wrong?
Shadow, just chill, would you? We'll be getting out of here soon.
I can't chill. Something's wrong out there. I can feel it.
Shadow scrubbed his face with his hands.
Someone is out there looking for me.
Lots of people are out there looking for you, Shadow. The government is a lot of people.
No, I mean...
He peered out from behind his fingers.
Out there, in the train yard, weird vibe, man. Not to mention my claustrophobia is starting to try to pick up again.
Okay, well, try some breathing exercises.
I have been. I've counted to 68 times now, 3 minutes late.
Rouge sighed, leaning back against the wall. If this was going to be happening the entire ride, it was going to be a very long ride.
Try to think of something else. Something happy.
Shadow was quiet for a moment, as if thinking.
Like what?
I don't know. Something that's happened to you that made you happy.
Well, considering everything in my memory has been this trip pretty much, I don't have a lot of happy to remember.
Right. Oops.
The hedgehog groaned as he leaned back against the wall as well.
I wish my memory wasn't so messed up. No good memories to think back on. No other memories to use as reference for why I am the way I am. I can't even remember what I did to injure my leg.
Well, that's no surprise. The number of times I've found a healing bruise and not remembered how I got it.
A bruise and a bum leg aren't exactly the same thing, Rouge.
Shadow leaned back against the wall of the train car.
The information my memory retained is all general.
What do you mean?
Grass being green from chlorophyll, the sky being blue due to particles in the atmosphere. That's all stuff anybody could know, right? But what's missing isn't that sort of stuff. It's personal stuff. Who I am, where I come from.
Why can't I remember me?
Would it help if I told you what I know about you?
Shadow looked to her with a slight smirk.
How much trouble could that cause? Sure.
Well, let me think.
Rouge scooched over to beside him.
Here's what the Guild knew about you, or at least, what they told me. Project Shadow was a project conducted aboard a space station back in the 1970s. The place was called Space Colony Ark.
The next words Rouge spoke weren't heard by the hedgehog. He wasn't there on the train anymore. He was somewhere else. A vision. He was in a bland hallway, with gray walls and simple flooring. Everything was tinted in red, sirens blared overhead, hurting his ears. His hand was being held by someone. A girl was tugging him along behind her. The girl from before, the girl in the mirror.
Your heart?
He heard his voice gasping as they ran.
Don't worry about me, Shadow. I'm fine. We'll be fine.
She wasn't fine. Shadow knew that, but what was wrong? What was going on? Why were they running, and from what?
Shadow, snap out of it.
Shadow gasped as the scene vanished, replaced by metal ceilings. He was moving, the ground shuddering underneath him. Where was he?
Shadow, come on, talk to me.
Arms were gripping his shoulders, and he looked forward to find another person with him. A female, he guessed, but not the girl, with fur like him.
Who are you? Where am I?
He whimpered, his heart racing in his chest. The creature's face shifted to concern, her voice lowering.
Hey, it's me. It's Rouge. Remember, I got you out?
Shadow blinked. Rouge. Rouge. She'd saved him from the capsule, right?
Rouge, sorry.
He covered his face with his hands.
I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
Hey, it's okay. You're clearly going through some things.
She looked around, and Shadow remembered they were in a train car, one that was finally moving out on its way.
Geez, your memory really is messed up. Your long-term's shot, and the short-term.
Faulty at best.
Shadow hissed, fighting back the tears welling in his eyes.
I'm not right in the head.
That's not true. You just need a little more time to recover, right? And I'll help you, okay?
Shadow lifted his head.
Why?
Because you're the only one who can see that green aura, after all. Somebody's gotta lead the way.
Shadow sighed, putting his head back down into his hands.
Tell me more about what you know.
And have you go into a trance again?
Please, you were at the Ark.
Okay. So you were created on board the space colony, but you were locked up after. Something happened. The entire facility was decommissioned, but there wasn't really any explanation of why that we could find.
What happened to the people on board? The scientists and staff?
Not sure. I would guess most of them got transferred to other facilities. The other projects were locked up too, I guess.
Shadow lifted his head a bit.
Other projects? Like me?
I don't think so, but, to be honest, the info we had on you didn't say anything about you being a sentient being, just a really powerful thing that was made.
Shadow opened his fingers to peer out from between them.
Powerful. Don't really feel that way. More like...
Pathetic?
The hedgehog's ears folded back with a grumble.
Don't get your quills in a bunch. I'm only teasing.
Yeah, well, it still hurt, because you're right.
Rouge put a hand to his shoulder.
We'll figure it out. Now, would you like to play a game to pass the time?
He pulled his hands down to look at her once more.
What kind of game?
A thinking game. I'll start. I'm thinking of something round and orange.
An orange.
Great. Your turn.
Okay, I'm thinking of something green.
Ooh, tough one. Okay, let me think.
They both paused as they heard the loud screech of brakes and the train began to pull to a stop. Shadow peeked out towards the door, still shut up tight.
Why are we stopping again?
Probably just waiting for the light to turn green saying we can go through.
Rouge whispered, but her tone seemed suspicious as well. Shadow ducked even lower behind the wood stacks, folding up tightly into a ball but keeping his one leg straight. Bending it only brought more pain.
What if they noticed us?
If they'd noticed us, then we wouldn't have started moving in the first place. Just be patient.
Patience was hard to have when you were illegally riding a train across the country and were trying to hide from every sentient being in sight.
So let me make sure I've got this straight. You're an agent of the government.
Yes.
And some government property has been stolen, and you think it's been stashed on one of the trains here in the yard.
Yes. So I need all of them to remain stationary until we can search them all?
The yard foreman blinked, overlooking the papers this man had handed him. His tone seemed sincere, but something about the paperwork seemed shady. Perhaps it was the paper was too crisp, the printing too recent, or perhaps it was that this supposed agent of the United States government had rolled up in an old RV that looked like it had seen better days a few decades ago. Something about this was definitely shady.
Can I have a description of this stolen property?
It seemed like a logical request. If they were going to be going through every car and every train in the yard, that was going to not be hours of work, but also hours of delays down the line. They couldn't be wasting time checking every metal container they found, especially when they didn't know what exactly was stolen. The agent didn't speak. In fact, he seemed taken by surprise by the question. If he was from their government, did he even know what he was looking for?
I mean, is it a box, or a bag, or a long pole, something? Gimme some context here. I have a business to run, and if we're gonna convince your superiors that the rail is still needed for import and export.
A train whistle blew loudly, and both of them looked to see one of the trains leaving the yard.
I thought you told them all.
Not yet, I hadn't. Not until I'm convinced. Besides, that's Martin, and he's got a retirement party waiting for him on the other end of the line. He's not worried about getting fired. He's not stopping.
The foreman smirked.
We're moving again.
See? Told ya to just be patient. Now, go to sleep. We've still got some time before we have to get off.
Shadow crossed his arms and leaned his head back against the vibrating wall of the train car. He hadn't slept all night, and even then it had only been a short amount of time back at the guild's old base. He closed his eyes, hoping to be able to get some good, restful sleep amidst all of this. Something told him he wouldn't be getting much of it for a while.